It's the Odd Drunk Podcast, a very strange podcast, the drunkest show in the world. It's Jackson and Colton talking out of their ass. We don't care as long as drinks are poured. Sometimes we have our friends here. We will talk about anything. We don't care as long as we have beer. And if you let that whiskey ring. The Odd Drunk Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Odd Drunk Podcast, a long form, inebriated show, a spinoff of, not a spinoff of Morning Oddities.
We're just gonna try to gaslight everyone into thinking that Morning Oddities came first
Yeah,
from now on.
yeah, we just waited a long time to release it, but we recorded it before. No, anyways, welcome back to Odd Drunk Pod with your hosts, Jackson and Colton. We, in celebration and anticipation of the release of the new Godzilla movie, Godzilla Minus One, the first Japanese Godzilla movie since Shin Godzilla, which I still haven't seen. I've only seen clips. I know.
Yep,
I'm terrible.
And we've talked for we've been planning on doing a commentary of Shin Godzilla for 2 years.
Basically.
We have a friend who we've been planning on getting a guest on to do a commentary with us and just never did.
I mean, it could still happen, maybe.
Could still happen.
Anything could happen. But we did record, and we also promised, and we're still holding by this promise, we're still accurate here, that we're going to cover every Godzilla movie, but we've only done 2 in 3 years.
Yeah.
We did Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
And then Destroy All Monsters. But
that's crazy. I thought I could have sworn we've
only done 2.
More than that.
Literally. I thought we did 2. I thought we at least did 4 or 5.
No, only 2.
Nope.
We've talked about other Godzilla movies.
Yeah, we've talked about them.
We did a
course.
review of Godzilla versus Kong, right?
I watched Godzilla. Well, yeah, we've done reviews, so but that doesn't count. No, I been getting into Godzilla once again. I always do, every year, basically.
It's not hard
watching all the
to get into Godzilla,
YouTube videos on the lore and on the monster stats, and watching the movies, of course. And I don't think there's no better time to watch the original 1954 film Gojira, the original Japanese version, because Godzilla Minus One is coming out in America here in the States on the 1st. Already got my tickets.
Yeah.
Super stoked. And it's basically like a spiritual remake of the original.
Yeah,
sort of.
We were talking about it a bit before.
Slightly different, but
it's kind of a remake, kind of not.
But it's post World War II Japan. Godzilla's the bad guy again, and I'm quite excited for that. I mean, it looks like it's definitely harkening back to the darker origins of this character and of this franchise, because obviously this franchise gets incredibly wacky pretty quickly, basically by its first sequel, but this first one is one of my
goes off the rails. But
this first Godzilla is honestly one of my favorite movies of all time, and it is definitely the monster movie to watch, in my opinion. Yeah,
absolutely. 1954.
Yep, almost 70 years old.
Damn. That's wild.
So yeah, we're gonna get into this. The original Godzilla. It's on HBO Max. There was an official version on YouTube. It was the official uncut version.
Yeah, they had the original Japanese version and everything.
Yeah, we were literally planning on using that, and then it's been taken off.
This is just
you know,
HBO. I assume this is the American release version.
no, they
No?
have the American version here that came out in 56. Godzilla King of the Monsters. That's the American version.
Ah, cool. Okay,
The
so this is
original is just Godzilla
the
or
original
Gojira,
original.
of course,
Yeah.
Gojira. And yeah, this is the Japanese version, so we're gonna have subtitles here, which works perfectly for commentary, anyways. Because
Yes.
you know,
Let me turn on
since we
those
can't,
subtitles.
yeah, that I think it just comes with the subtitles. I don't even think you have to turn them on this one, but but yeah, you want to definitely be sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna get into this. I got plenty to talk about, but let's not procrastinate any longer. Let's get into some good old Godzilla. Oh yeah, I have to explain it. Uh,
Yeah.
if you have never listened to one of our commentaries before, this is how it's gonna go. I'm gonna say 3, 2, 1, play. You hit play on your copy when I say play. And we're gonna sync up with my copy because I have ad free. Colton has ads, so he's probably
Yeah.
gonna get out of sync on us, depending on how many. Well, he's
I'll,
definitely gonna get out of sync on us if he
I'm
has
gonna have
ads
to probably 4 or 5
and
times to the movie have to
ad breaks.
figure
Um,
out where we are in the movie.
but depending on how many ads he is, uh, the more off sync we will get. But you will be in sync with me, and we're gonna get into this. So here we go. Oh, and we're gonna sync on the Janus Films logo, I guess. I guess that's a good point.
Cool.
They're like one of the restoration production companies that do a lot of these old movies. Kind of like Time Warner.
Yeah.
Or Turner Classics, Not Time Warner, Turner Classics. All right. 3, 2, 1, play. There's the HBO fanfare.
Yeah. But it's been a long time since I've seen
Criterion
this.
Collection, yeah. They're the ones that preserve it. I saw this film, Janus Films, there you go. I saw this about 2 years ago and leading up to Godzilla versus Kong, because that's when I just started watching a bunch of Godzilla movies again. A lot of old ones. But Toho, yes. Toho actually produced the original Ring movie too, which kind of blew my mind. I was like, oh, they do other movies. Godzilla. So thing about his name, Go Go Godzilla. There goes Tokyo, Go Go Godzilla, said by Blue Oyster Cult. I love that song.
Yeah.
But thing about the name Godzilla, a lot of people think that was created by Americans, but it was actually created by Toho.
Nice.
Good marketing. But Gojira, which is the Japanese name, roughly translates. I probably said this before, but roughly translates to gorilla whale, and it was a nickname that they gave to one of their buddies in the production company.
Oh, nice.
And
there is something about older films from the 40s and 50s and early 60s like this that I don't know, there's a lot of older films just like don't age super well because of how they're paced and things like that compared to what we're used to now. But
right.
Something about these older like 50s films I just can't get enough of. I really, really like them.
Well, and this is one of the good ones. I mean, this is honestly still one of the best monster movies ever. Directed by Ishiro Honda. So Godzilla's roar that they were playing earlier was actually made from rubbing a resin coated leather glove on a cello.
Oh, nice.
Or no, a double bass. and then they like reversed the sound and played around with it, and that's how we got the roar for Godzilla. And they pretty much use that roar in like every movie or like some kind of version of it. But the new one is like an edited original version. And I know in the 2014 one, the American one, they took like the same recording from this film
Yeah.
uh to make the new Godzilla's roar.
God, some of
There's
these
also the
shots are
new
just already just really, really good shots here. Like I just appreciate the actual like filmmaking that went
oh yeah.
into this original movie. Uh Sorry, we're gonna try not to have too many awkward silences, but with a really good movie, it's hard to not have those.
So obviously, I mean, this kicked off not just all the Godzilla movies, but just kaiju films
Hmm.
in general. Um, in 55, we would get Godzilla's raids again. Then the American version, edited version of this would release in 56. And then it wouldn't be
Yeah.
until 60, I believe 62 or 63, where they did Godzilla versus Kong or King Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah.
And because one of the inspirations for this film was the original 1933 King Kong film.
Right, right. Also a great movie.
Yeah,
Um,
but this yeah, it just came out 9 years after Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
yeah.
I mean, quite literally in post-war World War II Japan.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
this is the
and
early days of, after the war, the US pretty pretty much immediately got involved in trying to build up Japan as, I mean, to put it simply, as what we wanted Japan to be.
yeah,
Um,
a democratic state.
yeah. Uh, well, a democratic state, but also what I mean is like, economically, creating a environment that will benefit us, that
Hmm.
that type of thing. Like we were
Of
very
course.
active in that. And but
I love how you see the water boiling before the explosion and everything.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, this is obvious. I mean, this is basically the whole theme of this is the fear of nuclear powered nuclear bomb.
Right.
Um, and Godzilla is just nature taking revenge on mankind for creating the bomb
Yeah.
and using the bombs. Um, when he shows up, we'll talk about his design and everything, but it's iconic. I mean, it's carried on for decades.
Yeah.
Lots of crazy and wild versions, but everything owes it to this original.
Before we get too far into the movie, let's
Oh yeah,
get into hey, what are you drinking tonight?
I was gonna get something special or get some sake or something, but I didn't. I'm just drinking what I have at the moment. I got some screwball peanut butter whiskey
Nice.
and some PBRs.
Nice. I too just did a simple thing. I have some like hot apple cider stuff, and I
Nice.
just put some vodka in it.
Here you go.
Um, Pretty simple. Taking it pretty easy tonight. Just having a little drink, but it's pretty good. I like hot apple like spiced cider. It's good stuff.
Oh, always. So yeah, like I said, recently been watching some other Godzilla's movie. I've been watching a lot from the Heisei era. Watch Godzilla versus Destroya, and
Mhm.
also some from Millennium era, I guess too. I watched GMK. That one's pretty crazy. They make Godzilla a bad guy again in that one,
Yeah.
and King Ghidorah is actually a good guy in that one.
Oh yeah.
But I would also, so if I had to recommend a few Godzilla movies, obviously the original, what, what we're watching now. Um, but I would also recommend Godzilla versus Destroya because that
Mhm.
one, yeah, it definitely has its cheesy parts and some questionable effects sometimes, and some of the moments are like straight rip-offs from Aliens. But it is emotionally driven, and obviously that was the send off for the Heisei Godzilla. We see his death, and we see Godzilla Jr. and everything, and Destroya
Mhm.
is created from the oxygen destroyer, which is in this film, the original weapon built to kill Godzilla.
Right.
And yeah, it all ties back together to this original well. So I would definitely recommend that one. I would also recommend the new American ones, especially 2014, because it's
Yeah.
darker in tone,
I
like the
I like
original.
the 2014 one. I think it's
And it's actually
uh,
like it's quite literally a dark movie.
yeah. Well, isn't
You
there
know,
like the
the
home
home video
release?
release still
Yeah.
like when they released it on DVDs and Blu-rays, there was a issue with the basically the transfer from film to the home release, and it's actually darker than it should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quite a it's literally a dark movie. But I quite like that one, and yeah, it's gone crazy, and it's a lot like the Showa era now, just with all
Mhm.
the nonsense and all the big crazy monster fights and Godzilla and Kong and Mecha Godzilla.
But
But
it's
that's
still
fun,
fun. Yeah. Yeah.
And then Shin Godzilla uh goes dark again, and then we're getting Godzilla minus one, which can, kind of be a spiritual remake of this one.
Yeah.
Um I would also recommend yeah, GMK, All Out Monsters Attack, or it's something like that.
Yeah.
Uh it's the 2002 one where Godzilla's bad guy again, and it's got Mothra, Ghidorah, and I think one of the other side characters like Anguirus or something. Um but that one's quite fun. And honestly, any of the Showa ones, like we watched Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. That one's honestly a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, the Showa ones are. I think they lose the original idea a bit.
no, because Godzilla just becomes a kid's character, a superhero, you
Yeah,
know.
but they are fun movies. I do like them.
But no, n- as we're gonna see here, oh, I think we see him, or no, not yet. But Godzilla here is just a terrible force of nature,
Yeah.
the scorn of mankind, you know, just hates us, but is the creation of our own, demise kind of thing. Uh, I've had a long day. I don't know if I'm making sense right now,
Yeah.
but it's dark and it's serious.
I hope that
Um,
if you're listening to this, I hope you actually are watching the movie alongside. Um,
yeah, that would be a lot more fun, a lot more rewarding, and it'd make a lot more sense contextually. And,
yeah.
it'd be quite boring to just hear us talk about a movie, without the movie.
Yeah.
But if you want to do that,
Here they're
that's up to you.
describing Godzilla. Yeah. They'd
Well, what's cool
sacrifice a
about this
young
one, it's
girl, send her adrift in the middle of the ocean to appease
what's cool
Godzilla.
how it's presented how like the way this movie's presented is like we're here with it's kind of a documentary style, like
Yeah.
where we're here with the people, Um, and the way it's presented. And the American version, the one thing I really do like about it, um, there's a narrator in between a lot of scenes that explains things and makes it
Right.
more like a. The American version isn't like a. It's kind of like a spin-off of the original because it is a kind of a retelling of the original where it's presented to American audiences.
Right.
So it's not quite the same. Um,
I love these
it's almost
miniature
like
shots. Those are so
oh, there yeah,
good.
there obviously a lot of good miniature stuff here,
I love a
but
good
it's
miniature shot.
the American version is essentially like if an American documentary crew went to Japan during the events of Godzilla and reported on it.
Right, right.
So in 1954, there's an often repeated myth that the production of this film and Seven Samurai nearly drove Toho into bankruptcy. This neglects to mention a third Toho film made that year, Samurai One, uh, Masashi Miyamoto. All three were the most expensive Japanese films made up until that point and big financial risk for Toho. However, there's little evidence to suggest that Toho was ever at risk. Oh, here's Godzilla.
Here it
Here's the
is.
G-Man himself.
This is such a killer introduction to
Just in
Godzilla
the
here.
rain and mud and
Mm,
screaming.
yeah. The music
Like, yeah.
is just I love the music in this too. It's
Oh,
classic.
yeah. When we get to the Godzilla score, it's pretty epic.
Yeah.
And yeah, Godzilla's only shows up in this movie for like 10 minutes. And that's a often debated thing. Like, how much Godzilla should we see in each film?
I
And, the idea, this was obviously before that, but like in the new one, they were like harkening back to original, but they also based their ideas off of Jaws, where like
yeah, yeah.
Godzilla's not in it a lot, but when he is,
Oh, here's my first ad.
it's oh, you gotta add. Okay, so the Odo Island Disaster Relief Group is rolling in their bus.
It's a
Colt
better
is
than
about to crash.
Bouillon commercial
Better
if
than
you're
Boyan?
Bouillon. Uh if you're wondering.
Like what?
Better than Bouillon, the brand. It's a chicken bouillon.
Chicken Boyan. Okay. That's fun.
Yeah.
But anyways,
And here's a
Toho.
Geico commercial.
Oh, Geico, nice. We lost 12 cows and 8 pigs. So Godzilla's eating a bunch of livestock. So also in
All
this
right,
movie, this is obviously
what timestamp are you at?
I
Uh
I'm at 16:25, just a little over 60 minutes. Um,
cool.
Another thing talk about Godzilla movies is obviously the scale and
I should be
everything
about
of the monster.
on track again here.
Okay, cool.
But
So
anyway,
yeah,
sorry.
paleontologists. Oh yeah, this is where they talk about what Godzilla is or whatever.
Right.
Um, but no, I remember I watched this. I just sat down and watched this film like 2 years ago, where Godzilla versus Kong coming out, and I watched it, obviously not talking over it, and I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
My thing though is with um anything that requires subtitles, I have to actually be paying attention to really obviously to understand what's happening. Like right now,
Yeah.
if I
Um,
really wanted to know what was happening, I would stop talking and I would
I
start
mean,
reading
honestly,
subtitles.
these
But
these
I
movies
can do
like
both
this,
at once.
if we had the time, what we should have done is watched it ahead of time and taken notes and stuff, and then did the commentary.
Nah,
Um,
we're going in raw.
but like
Okay, so the guy in the
like
glasses is the guy that
yeah.
actually he ends up inventing the oxygen destroyer in this
Oh,
movie.
nice. What a look.
Uh,
Yeah,
right?
Mr. Cool Guy there. I love it. But yeah, before we were recording, I was talking about some fun movies to do commentaries on would be some of like the Kurosawa movies. So like Rashomon is a classic. It's one of my favorites of all time. But that would definitely be a movie where if you've not seen it at all or not seen it recently,
Right.
we
Definitely have to
can't we
watch it
can't do a
first.
commentary
No.
on it just going in raw. Like that is
Right.
Rashomon is notorious for being like a movie you have to pay attention to. Because
Right.
it's the whole they have in cinema there's the Rashomon effect, which is a storytelling trope where you tell the same story from different perspectives multiple times. And every
Oh
time
wow.
every time the story you see a different perspective, a little bit more of the whole picture is revealed to you, that type of thing.
So I got a bit of trivia.
Cool.
So the movie's opening scene was inspired by the Lucky Dragon incident, where the crew of a Japanese fishing boat was contaminated by the radioactive fallout from Castle Bravo tests. Detonation of the first H bomb.
Nice.
Um,
Huh.
in the new Godzilla MonsterVerse series, Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, it's on Apple Plus. I actually got a free trial for a month, so I'm actually watching it.
Nice.
I haven't got to this episode yet, but apparently they make it canonical where the Castle Bravo test was actually, maybe they explained it in one of the movies, but it was actually to try to kill Godzilla.
There's
But
quite a few
essentially,
shows on Apple that I want to watch, and that's one of them.
yeah, but essentially dropping an atomic bomb on Godzilla or even a hydrogen bomb is basically just just feeding him.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you drop a pie on your face, but you can still eat it.
Yeah.
It might be surprising and shocking at first, but it's not gonna really hurt you or anything.
I
There's a Godzilla analog horror based off the first couple original movies.
Oh yeah.
And basically the whole idea is where the suit actor refuses to take the suit off, the Godzilla suit off, and he eventually, basically in the series, it's revealed that he starts becoming Godzilla. His body
Oh,
fuses with the suit, and he starts getting bigger and everything. And it's like this weird kind of meta, like there was one of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies where like Freddy became real
right.
from the movies, like this weird meta thing. So it's basically like Godzilla becomes real just because of the belief in it and the
Uh,
whole the
ha-
popularity of it and everything.
Haruo Nakajima, the original actor who portrayed Godzilla.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
No, actually, yeah, he hated suit. It was super hot.
he played Godzilla in 12 consecutive films from 1954
Yeah.
until 1972.
Yeah, he was in most of the Showa era ones.
Yeah, that's impressive, and he's
Yeah.
a pioneer of suit acting. So,
Oh yeah.
Predator, and Alien, all those guys, the movies that used guys in really cool looking suits as the
I went to this.
yeah.
I went to Nakajima.
I just I can't get over how, especially considering the reputation that the Godzilla series has because of the Showa films, how good the actual filmmaking in this original one is.
Oh, here's our first look.
Nice.
But also, and Shin Godzilla really plays on this. But Godzilla was creepy looking.
Yeah.
Just even there.
Yeah.
He's not quite a dinosaur. He's not quite, just not quite right. Like, look at him there. That fucked up he looks. Terrifying.
I mean, but
Those
at the
dead
same,
eyes.
well, it's like out of context, Godzilla in some of these shots is kind of goofy looking, but
Right.
they do such a good job building it up that the goofiness kind of you forget about it. You
Well, it's
know?
off-putting goofiness. It's you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's uncanny.
Well, that's what I mean. I think out of context, it's not even uncanny goofy. It's just goofy looking the suit. But in context, it becomes like actually looks kind of unsettling, you know?
Right. Well, then you get to the Showa era, like in the Mechagodzilla movie. You see how Godzilla looks in that. It's
Oh yeah.
nothing contextually makes it scary.
Yeah. But no, but like this movie though does such a good job at that. I mean, just so I think I'm amazed by not amazed in like I didn't expect it from them type of thing, but just compared to what you would be used to from especially from the Showa era is just like the shot
Heisei.
composition in this movie is really really well done.
Well, I love that image of him peeking over the hill.
Yeah.
So the original Godzilla,
That's great looking. Wow.
stands approximately 165 feet tall. So that's, substantially shorter than the new versions. The new Godzilla is nearly 400 feet tall. I think like 394, but
Yeah.
so 50 meters. But I heard in Godzilla Minus One that he's actually scaled back to 50 meters again,
Nice.
which, yeah, it's been a trend to make Godzilla bigger and bigger, but then he got smaller again in the Millennium era. I think he was about the same size as the original in the Millennium era, but
Well, this is the Americanized version of the 1954 original Godzilla depict him as 400 feet tall.
really, but that's
Um,
not accurate to scale or anything.
well, yeah,
Oh, you mean the new American, the
no,
MonsterVerse?
the Americanized version of this movie
It claims he's 400 feet
claims,
tall.
yeah, depicted it says
Well,
depicted
because in
him as 400
America,
feet
with
tall.
well, it's all contextual because in
Mm-hmm.
1950s Tokyo, their skyscrapers were, not nearly as tall as the skyscrapers in New York.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So, in the American context, yeah, you would want Godzilla to be taller, and that's why he's so tall now, especially because everywhere there's Tokyo, and 1,000 feet skyscrapers and all that stuff.
yeah,
But I think it's not just compared to the buildings of the time that makes it significant. I think a Godzilla like the modern one that is so huge, you can't even it's not even tangible, right? Like that's where it just becomes you lose the sense of scale. There's no that it's not like that imminent threat. It's this just huge thing. It's just this huge force in nature.
right.
But
Yeah,
I think a smaller Godzilla, I think what you benefit from that is it's like right there. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's
and honestly, it
the more
kind of just
imminent threat.
it kind of just proves that it's you don't need Godzilla to be, towering over skyscrapers to be
Right.
an effective plot device. Um
Well, and also
this says
you can
the
frame it better where where
Americanized
you can
version of the 1954 original Godzilla depicted him as 400 feet tall. Um the current MonsterVerse Godzilla reaches his tallest at 393 feet. So technically,
yeah.
the 1956 American Godzilla King of Monsters is the
Well,
tallest
that's
version of
bullshit though,
Godzilla.
because the 56 Godzilla isn't any taller in this version.
No, but what they claim he is.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, Godzilla officially got doubled in height by the Heisei era, and then it varied, but I think yeah, I mean I think it's all contextual, and I also think what you could benefit from a smaller Godzilla is just it's easier to show the humans in relation to Godzilla.
Yeah.
Because the bigger he gets, it's harder to depict that. Um, the government bureaucrats.
Yeah, and the change in the height in the 56 American version is because producer Joseph Levine felt that 50 meters did not sound powerful enough. So he said, make it 400
Right.
feet. Yeah. Yeah.
Also, yeah, I know we're cavemen that still use imperial measurements. Why we would just use the metric system? I mean, yeah, it is so much easier, right? It's what all science uses.
Oh yeah. To get a whole population to switch measurement systems, it's
Right.
harder than it sounds.
No, yeah, it's too late now.
Most professional American industries do use metric. So
Yes.
military uses it, medical industry uses it. Hell, dispensaries use the metric system.
Grams. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't buy a pound of pot. You buy an ounce or
Yeah.
yeah.
Pound would be quite a lot.
I've
16
got another ad
ounces.
here.
So yeah, a common misconception is that the name Godzilla was then Americanized by U.S. distributors. Name was actually the idea of Toho and its international sales division, who would literally transliterate Gojira into English as Godzilla. Toho used the title Godzilla in the 1955 English language sales catalog, full year before finding an American distributor, and when it finally played briefly in Japanese American owned theaters in Los Angeles and New York. Producer
Real
Joseph
quick, what's your timestamp? I just had an ad break
I
there.
am at about 31 minutes. Anyways, producer Joseph E. Levine would purchase the rights and create Transworld to distribute and release the film as Godzilla King of the Monsters in 1956. So while the American distributors did not create the name, they did create the English pronunciation of Godzilla. Toho has since been sole owners of the name Godzilla in both languages. So yeah, Toho did create the name Godzilla first.
Nice.
Not a translation, a transliteration. Gojira,
Right.
Godzilla.
Right.
Apparently, George Lucas cites the film's miniatures as his inspiration for his effects in Star Wars movies.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I love the miniature shots in this.
Oh yeah, they're great.
Just, yeah. Just sitting in the dark, brooding.
So yeah, in 2004, for the 50th anniversary, Godzilla was given a star on the Walk of Fame. I've seen it.
Nice. Yeah, look at that. Oh. I'm digging the music that they're all dancing to. It's great.
Yeah, it's the 50s. This is the oldest movie we've ever watched on a commentary, by the way.
It is, yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Nice.
And I think it definitely, I mean, it also benefits from being black and white too.
Yeah.
If this was colorized, if we just saw this obviously, fake looking green dinosaur pop out of the water, I think it would lose a lot of the terror that it's supposed to
Yeah, having
portray.
like
But
that shot there of him in the water where it's like all just
if it
black.
was just overly saturated, blue ocean and green dinosaur, purple fins.
Yeah. But it's
I don't
almost
know if
just
it'd
like
work
his
quite as well.
silhouette in the moonlight type of thing,
Yeah,
which
it looks
works
really
really
good
well.
there.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think black and white, depending on the film, can serve the film better, like you said with this. But honestly, it surprises me that black and white isn't utilized in modern films more often than it is. You only have every few years a black and white film comes out.
Right. And sometimes you'll get a black and white version in certain releases.
Right, right. Like Logan
Like
had a yeah,
Logan had a black and white version.
yeah.
Lighthouse was black and white. The Artist was black and white, but it was also a silent film. I've never
Artist
seen
was
it.
Artist was pretty good. That's a good movie. That one, the silent film approach, I don't think most films should try that, but it works in that movie because the plot of the movie is a silent film actor who's being replaced by or who's kind of going out of the job because of uh, sound movies becoming popular. So it's the whole plot of the movie is him
Right.
kind of adapting with the time. So actually
Yeah, the soundies.
the last scene in the movie has sound in it.
Really?
Yeah, and
That's cool.
he says audibly, he says like one word in the entire movie. It's the last line in the movie. Yeah. But it's a pretty good one. Sorry about the
Um,
silence.
yeah, what is well, we failed to mention the 98 version.
No one
Matthew
mentions
Broderick.
the 98 version.
It's just wild to me that America's first time, their first chance to make their own Godzilla movie, they dramatically change the design and basically make it a ripoff of Aliens in Jurassic Park.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
I actually kind of like the Zilla design, but not for Godzilla, for something else.
Yeah, it's
For
not a
Zilla.
terrible like monster design, but yeah, I haven't seen that movie for a really long time and I have no interest in.
No,
We will eventually have to watch it. We said we watch all of the Godzilla movies.
right. It's
And
technically a
sadly,
Godzilla
that one
movie.
does count, whether we
I'll,
like
I'll
it or
tell you
not.
one that's wild though. Uh, well, I know that I remember watching the cartoons some when I was a kid, which was in the same universe, but
I
it
never
was
watched that, but I always heard the
it
cartoon is
plays out
actually
like the
pretty
Showa
decent.
films where it's like the monster of the week.
That's a sick
And
motorcycle there. Anyway, but yeah.
And Zilla has more of the traditional Godzilla abilities, like atomic breath, something you would think you would have.
Right.
Um, Zilla Jr. It's Zilla Jr. in the cartoon.
Right.
Uh, I'll tell you one that's wild that I recently saw. I would recommend it only if you're like a huge Godzilla nerd or so. If you're a huge Godzilla nerd, you've already seen it like 3 times at least already. But Godzilla Final Wars,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
absolutely insane movie. I watched it. It has a lot more human parts in it, but not good like this. Aren't by even Showa standards. It is just nuts though. And when Godzilla is there, it is pretty crazy. He basically fights every monster that's ever been in any of these. And it's
Yeah.
like the most OP version of Godzilla. It's just absolute madness. Uh it kind of disappointed me though, because I thought there'd be a little bit more craziness. Well, a little bit more fights in it. But basically, the aliens show up and they send a bunch of different monsters to fight Godzilla, and one of them is Zilla,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
It was
98
like
American version.
it was
And
their version of their way of like kind of just trashing on the American
and it
version.
was just the worst CG model. And Godzilla just two shots him, tail whip, atomic breath, and that's it.
I love it. I love that.
Yeah. I like his eye patch.
I did too. I was thinking, why aren't there more like cool guys with eye patches in movies anymore?
Nick Fury, but is he really a cool guy anymore? I mean, I
Yeah.
love Sam Jackson,
But
but
like feel like it's a rarer thing now, you know.
Snake
Like
Plissken's.
but Snake Plissken is that those movies are getting kind of old now. I'm talking like
Oh yeah, they are old.
in the last like 20 years.
I mean, yeah,
Um,
Nick Fury is like really. Oh, the remake of True Grit, if you want to count that, but that's kind of an old movie
yeah.
now too, anyways.
But like Thor Ragnarok
Well,
and
Thor had an
Avenger
eye patch for a little bit.
and Infinity War, I thought it was a mistake getting rid of his eye patch. They should have kept
At least
let
that
him
soon.
yeah, they should have had a whole movie where he had an eye patch. And yeah.
So yeah, the name Gojira is a combination of Japanese words for gorilla and whale. Goria and Kojira. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. The monster is said to have been named because it alluded to a creature of great size and strength. There has always been a legend that Godzilla was named after a hulking man named Gojira who worked at Toho, but this is untrue. Not only there is no evidence of this man existing, but the various stories about him kept changing through the years. He worked as a stagehand, he worked as a PR man, etc. According to Kimi Honda, wife of Ishiro Honda, the man nicknamed Gojira was just an inside joke between her and her husband and various others at Toho Lot, specifically producer Tanaka. So there was never a guy named Gojira. I was
Uh
lied to. We were all lied to. It
damn.
was just a joke. Oh, what happened?
He
He tested the oxygen
tested the oxygenator
bomb.
on the fish.
Yeah, so it's supposed to destroy your oxygen molecules, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Um, but yeah, I remember first version I saw of this was Godzilla King of the Monsters. But
Yeah.
I think the first Godzilla movie, it's really hard to say the first Godzilla movie I've ever seen. I saw a lot of them on like TV as a kid at my grandma's house and stuff. Um, a lot of the Showa ones. I
You
remember
got
seeing the Heisei ones. I think the first one I actually sat down and watched as a kid was Godzilla 2000.
yeah, I Godzilla's one of those things where it's like I don't recall ever not knowing about Godzilla.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
like
Everyone knows.
like my first exposure to
Play any Godzilla
Godzilla
games?
is before I developed memories of
You
like
ever play Monsters Unleashed or I've been playing the emulation of all our Godzilla Kingdom or no Godzilla All Monsters Attack. I think that's what it is on
nice.
GameCube. I've been emulating that. It's pretty fun.
Some of those
Um,
older Godzilla games are kind of fun. Um
and then there's
it is a concept that I don't think lends itself well to a complicated video game,
right.
you know? So
I mean, I think there's definitely cool stuff that they could do with it that they've never done, but
yeah.
make it a God of War style game where you're Godzilla, but you go on this huge journey, you're raising your son, and it's just this big epic linear adventure. No, I
Well,
remember
yeah.
playing Godzilla Monsters Unleashed. Oh, there he is. Um, so apparently the troops going to the coast to face Gojira here were actual Japanese Defense Force troops. They were on maneuvers when Honda shot the footage of them.
Oh, cool.
So they're firing real rifles there, or machine guns there. And that's something I always thought about in all these old movies. Like, they're just straight up firing these guns. Like, I don't even know if they're blanks. And they were in this case. They just got that footage.
Yeah. Yeah, old movies seem to have an approach of if someone had a gun, it was either like a very, very fake looking gun, or it was
Right.
probably real. There was
Or
no in
just a gun.
between.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no in between. It was either like you can tell at first glance that this is a fake gun, or someone could have gotten shot on set.
Oh, here's a classic shot when he gets into the wires and everything.
I just got an ad break here.
And yeah, for a movie this old with, just the practical effects and the man in the suit and the miniatures, the sense of scale here is done really well. That a lot of Godzilla King of the Monsters, the 2019 one, where he
Yeah.
fights Ghidorah and there's Mothra in it and Rodan. I like it. I mean, as a Godzilla fan, I love it, of course. I mean, it's a modern version of all those crazy Showa films, basically. But you don't get the sense of scale in that movie. There's a lot of just wide shots of the monsters, fighting in the city. There's
Yeah.
and often fighting in nothing spaces. Like one of the scenes, Godzilla
What's
fights
hold on,
Ghidorah.
hold on. What's your timestamp?
He is smashing up the train at 4708. But also I just love the design of this original Godzilla. I have the NECA figure of it. And it's just honestly,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't like the Heisei version, and I do like I definitely like the Heisei version. I definitely like the Monsterverse version. But the original just honestly, I don't think anything ever beat it. I think there's other
Yeah.
designs that are equal, but I don't think there's ever been a Godzilla design. Maybe minus one. I mean, the minus one design kind of looks like a cool combination of original, Heisei, and legendary.
Hmm.
But this original design, maybe it's just because it's black and white and it just works. Oh, I love these shots of smashing miniatures. But
Yeah.
it's not like, and the way this movie, the original presents it, it's not presented as, oh, here's Godzilla, he's gonna save the day, or here's Godzilla, goofy stuff's gonna happen. Here's Godzilla,
He's coming.
No,
He's
it's
here to
a
fuck shit up, and there's nothing you can do
he's
about
for,
it.
here to fuck shit up. The
Like,
score is foreboding. It's a somber mood.
yeah.
So the miniatures in the film were made with wood, cement, plaster, and glass. The filmmakers had asked to use blueprints for various buildings, but rejected. The staff instead had to reverse engineer their own blueprints. Over
Huh.
500 miniatures buildings were built, precisely recreating Tokyo at 1/25 scale. Buildings
Wow.
that were to be destroyed were strategically weakened to collapse. All the miniature vehicles were custom built out of cast iron and manipulated with piano wires to make them move.
Damn.
All of this was built on raised sets so the cameras could be placed at lower angles. When working with the miniatures, Nakajima recalled that he always felt anxious since a single miniature was worth more than his entire salary. When it came time for shooting, the staff would often spend all day preparing the miniature sets, only to end up with a few seconds of usable footage.
Wow.
Yeah, movies were really hard to make back then, especially on a shoestring budget.
Yeah. They're still hard to make, but the difference is these
Yeah.
days we just make CGI artists work 100 hours a week. Uh,
Yeah, they're lazy for the producers, at least.
yeah.
But yeah, hard for the CGI artists. Here's the theme. The proper Godzilla theme here. I
Yeah.
mean, you also have the one with the horns where it's dun 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 dun, dun,
Oh yeah, that one's a
But uh, this one and that is what I think of when I think of the Godzilla theme. Just classic. And they still use this theme to today, even in the new
yeah.
Godzilla King of the Monsters, the score plays a version of it and stuff. And I think in Godzilla vs. Kong. What did you think of Godzilla vs. Kong? Now that it's been a while,
I liked it.
they're coming out with a new one.
I liked it. Yeah. I
A
thought they
lot of
did.
fun.
Yeah, they did a better job with scale in that one.
Oh yeah, definitely. It definitely had a lot more scale and weight to it than King of the Monsters, I would say.
Yeah. Um, and even though some of like the lore building stuff that they tried to do in it, kind of comes off as it's just there because they need to fill it out with something. But I still,
With the Hollow Earth stuff and like,
yeah, I still appreciate like what they were trying to do with it, and I I thought some of the early action in it, so like the scene where Godzilla attacks the ships,
oh,
is
that's great.
really really good. Yeah.
Yeah, that fight on the aircraft carrier was just
Yeah,
pure
that
kaiju goodness.
that's a great one. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Oh, that cut there where she gets up.
oh yeah.
He just looks so like defeated.
Yeah.
Like, which I mean, yeah, I would be too.
All they can think of is killing Godzilla. Why don't they try to study its resistance to radiation?
Yeah.
Right. So when this film was first released in Japan, the reception from the press was mixed. In a negative review, Kanema Jumpo wrote that dark tone made the film unenjoyable, with joke complaining about social commentary. By contrast, a positive review lauded the film for its anti-nuclear message and tone. Director Honda recalled that many found the film weird and that the sequel Godzilla Raids Again received better reviews. And that's objectively a worse movie.
Yeah.
um, yeah, of course, a movie that has strong themes and, commentary on massive horrors, probably wouldn't be received that well. But it's nonetheless, it's important. Um, Godzilla would become a box office success, serving as catalyst to popularize science fiction and special effects filmmaking in Japan. Its reputation would only improve, with Kanema Jumpo ranking Godzilla 20th in their prestigious list of top 100 best Japanese films. Um,
Nice. This is like, yeah. I just have to wonder, like, in these kaiju films, when they start shooting Godzilla with just guns and tanks and shit, it's like, if it were to work, I wonder, like, what they would think, like the soldier who actually got the killing blow in.
right, the one guy that got him. Oh, here he comes.
Yeah, they do such a good job with the making him look big in this.
Right, right.
Like,
Yeah, he doesn't just look like even in the King Kong movie actually does a pretty good job, but and a lot of old monster movies, there's no sense of scale. They're just fighting an empty field. And yeah, that happens in the
yeah,
Showa Godzilla movies. But this one, uh, you get his weight, his size, he's lumbering around, destroying everything. And it just, if it wasn't for this, we wouldn't have any. Well, who's to say? But if it wasn't for this, is the granddaddy of all monster movies, kaiju movies. Oh, the first
yeah.
atomic breath. But yeah, just that dead eye he has. Like when you see the whites of his eyes every once in a while, that's just creepy.
Love it.
I love to be the guy that just got to set fire to all the miniatures. Actually, I'd love to be Godzilla, the guy in the suit, just smashing all the miniatures. That's actual fire. Like,
Oh, yeah,
that's real.
wait, with the atomic breath there, with all the people getting hit by it.
One, what's really cool in the 2014 one, his atomic breath in that one, because it's like nerfed or it's like weaker or whatever. I forget what the lore exactly is. It's a lot like this one where it's more of a smoky, vapor.
Yeah.
But then eventually it ends up just becoming a big laser, or
I do love in the
big blue
2014 when
beam.
he like shoots the atomic breath down the other kaiju's like throat and like
Oh
rips its
yeah.
head off. That's such a cool shot.
Oh yeah.
I love these miniature shots of
Yeah,
the
like it's
cars.
just
It's so good.
just blowing it all up. Yeah, little miniature cars. But yeah, this Godzilla, I mean, is just a destructive force of nature.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I love how fucked up the suit looks sometimes, especially the face.
Yeah.
But it's that weirdness. Yeah, I mean, it just makes it creepier, in my opinion.
Oh, the tanks here. Some really good shots here. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, there is a bit of stop motion here. Or no. No. Oh, it's suitmation.
Huh.
So stop motion animation was rejected because of the time it would take.
Oh,
Special effects director
commercial break for me.
uh wanted to use this method, but faced a grim reality that there was not enough people in Japan with experience in this technique, and that Toho would never give him the time needed to do their tight production schedules. Tushibiria had to pioneer the techniques of suitmation, which would make the production more feasible, though no less difficult. One benefit was this depicting Godzilla's enormous size. Since the stop motion puppet would have been had been used, it would require miniatures at much smaller scale, resulting in less detail and destruction. The film makes use of stop motion to enhance a few brief sequences in which a vehicle crashes and Godzilla's tail moves, but it's very minimal stop motion.
Nice, nice. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like by the
What's
Heisei era, and I think even in some of the Showa movies, like Godzilla's suit would actually do stuff, like the mouth would move, and like,
yeah, yeah. What's your timestamp at again? Yeah.
man, everything's just on fire. Oh, that's a great shot. My time step just over an hour and a minute. Oh, just his fucked up teeth, all jagged, jutting out everywhere. So listen to this. So the suit actor Haruya Nakajima would frequently pass out. According to Nakajima, temperatures inside the suit reach up to 60 degrees Celsius or 140 degrees Fahrenheit due to the hot
Fuck.
studio lights, and it was not uncommon for a cup of Nakajima's sweat to be drained from the suit.
Damn.
Nakajima described the suit as inside a Godzilla suit is very dark, lonely, and isolated. Usually, the person who wears the suit becomes nervous and anxious. During summertime, it's very hot, and it can become hell in there. But Nakajima always persevered. He acted in the suit underwater. He was buried underground. He withstood pyrotechnic explosions. And
Huh.
through it all, he was always Godzilla.
Damn.
Yeah.
What a fucking
So,
hero.
yeah, they really set this guy on fire.
That's wild. Holy shit.
Oh, I love that shot of his silhouette in the fire.
Yeah.
Biting down on the clock tower. Smashing. Since no film like this have ever been made in Japan, they had never attempted a suit like this one needed in Godzilla. Much of the tension first version was the visual design, with the staff neglecting to consider the requirements of the performer inside. The only way an actor could enter the suit was through an opening in the back, hidden by back plates attached by rings on hooks. Inner lining would also scrape on the actor's skin.
Oh,
Suit actor Hiroyo Nakajima could barely walk in the original costume, which weighed slightly over 230 pounds.
oh,
The second suit
that's
was built relatively lighter, just over 200 pounds.
wow.
But I think that really adds to his emotions and, the portrayal of Godzilla,
Yeah.
this huge lumbering monster. I think if it would have been like a super lightweight suit, he wouldn't have moved that way. It would have been a lot harder to portray that.
Oh, there's some stop motion there with the tail.
Yeah, with the tail, yeah. During Godzilla's rampage through downtown Tokyo, one of the buildings he destroys is the old Nishigiki Theater, after his tail smashes into it, which we just saw, which had frightened several viewers who tried to run out of the theater that they were actually in, like the actual theater
Damn.
that he smashed.
Wow.
While always assumed to be made out of rubber, the original Godzilla suit was, according to Hiroyo Nakajima, made from ready-mix concrete mixture due to the limited supply of latex material in post-war Japan. The original suit was nearly impossible to use, resulting in the second suit being made using a liquid plastic polymer. Second suit was also the one used in filming the majority of the scenes, which the first suit being cut in half so the legs could be used in close-ups.
Wow. Concrete.
Jeez. The building whose clock tower Godzilla tears off was the Waco department store. It was completed in 1932 in Ginza district and still stands today, the clock tower intact.
Are you saying this movie is not historically accurate?
Right. Yeah, it's still intact. And that's something a lot of Godzilla movies don't even do now. There's people in those buildings.
Oh yeah, I was thinking there's like plenty of scenes where it shows Godzilla killing people. Like
Yeah.
he kills a bunch of people with his atomic breath in one shot earlier.
Well,
Like,
yeah, I think, and that's another benefit to having a smaller Godzilla. There's more of that intimate threat, that it's easier to show him as a threat to actual people when he's a little bit scaled down.
yeah,
When he's a huge 400-foot tall monster, people are so small it doesn't even matter, right?
right.
You don't think about it. But when he's but yeah, I mean, I love how this Godzilla literally just fucking shit up. Just destroying. There's no reason to it. It's just because he's Godzilla and that's what Godzilla does. Oh, here come the jet fighters.
Yeah.
50s era. Oh, that's a great silhouette.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's basically like he's got like the plates are kind of like a stegosaurus. kind of a T-Rex-ish head.
I love that you can see the wires on some of the planes.
Oh yeah. Oh, I saw him there, yeah. I think well, it being filmed in dark scenes and also black and white helps hide that stuff, you know.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty well hidden. But yeah. Everyone's cheering him on, cheering on the planes.
Going back in the water. Going back in the ocean. Like, fuck you guys. I'm out of here.
It's like, fine, I'll fuck off
John
for now.
Carpenter. So apparently John Carpenter, of course, is a fan of this film, and he said, I first saw Godzilla in 1956 at the tender age of 8. Something about the film filled me with somber dread, not knowing not the monster destroying Tokyo, but the overall tone, underlying sadness, a sense of grief and horror. Japan is the only nation to suffer atomic bombs dropped on 2 of its cities, and Godzilla gave powerful expression to this emotional ambience disguised as a giant monster movie.
Damn, yeah.
I mean, that's really what it is. I mean, this is all a commentary on the bombs, the atomic bomb.
Oh yeah, the radiation that they're testing people
Yeah.
for. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's literally atomic breath. That's a lot of things. People forget that every time Godzilla does that, it it builds radiation. It's like an
Yeah.
atomic bomb. He's a walking atomic bomb.
Yeah.
So some of the proposed designs for the Godzilla suit were similar, save for the texture of the monster's skin. Godzilla's skin was very warty, while another was like an alligator. The final design, given Godzilla's familiar rocky hide, was meant to suggest that the nuclear bomb blast that awakened him had burned him,
Mm.
specifically the keloid scars that um, have been the result of the bomb. And there's certain version of Godzilla. Well, this, I mean, his texture has always been familiar to like the scarring people got from the bomb, like when the
Yeah.
clothes burned to their skin and like. The audience who still remembered World War II's toll on civilians and soldiers, Godzilla's movements may have seemed eerily similar to those of burnt and traumatized soldier or civilian, wandering in a confused daze rather than unconsciously causing devastation. This casts a tragic, sympathetic, even victimized light on Godzilla that sets him apart from the majority of cinema giant monsters or kaiju era.
Yeah. No, I think I mean, even though I prefer movies where Godzilla is more of the villain, he is like a unique enough monster character that I can see how, you know, the draw to portray him more as a hero in some ways.
Right. Well, because
So now they're
there's always a
explaining
worse
the
monster, I guess. Yeah, the
yeah.
oxygen destroyer. Um, well, it comes to no surprise, like after like shows like the Adam West Batman, that they would make Batman. I mean, they would make Godzilla silly, right?
Right, right.
Mm. And also, I mean, I think that's one of my favorite things about Godzilla, though, is just the many interpretations. Like you could have the fun, goofy Godzilla fighting with Jet Jaguar and doing drop kicks and
Yeah.
dancing around, and that's still just as valid as the Godzilla is a dark, scary, creepy one, like the original or Shin Godzilla. They're all valid except for 98. But
I mean, I like how he's essentially like he creates the oxygen destroyer, and he's essentially like this is as bad as this is potentially as bad as the H bomb.
right.
Like
And that's what Godzilla's the result of. And now you're creating something to destroy that, but it's even worse.
yeah.
Like in the Oppenheimer movie, it did a really good job of, and Cillian Murphy's such a great actor, but just expressing like this immense dread that he felt after the bomb was successful and leading up to it and everything.
Yeah.
And then he was in a boardroom meeting with some high right up government officials and stuff talking about creating making more atomic bombs and even trying to make the hydrogen bomb and stuff with one of the physicists that helped work at in Los Alamos. And he was like,
Mhm.
"No, just stop. This is terrible. It's like I'm
Yeah.
not happy about this." Um, but it just keeps escalating, right? First you have the atom bomb, then you have the H bomb, and this you have the
Yeah.
oxygen bomb. Um, it's like once you and the whole point of Godzilla, it's our punishment. Godzilla punishes all of mankind, man, woman, or child, for the atom bomb.
Yeah, he's they want to use it to kill Godzilla, and he's basically like, I was hoping I could find a use for this other than destruction, which
Right.
is
And yeah, what's really cool in Godzilla versus Destroya, uh, it all ties back together because Destroya is a creation of the oxygen bomb destroyer.
Right.
And that's what Godzilla ends up having to fight again, a monster that's created from the thing that killed the original version.
Yeah.
Sorry for the silence. I'm quite tired. Had a long day.
Yeah.
And honestly, like you said, when it's a good movie, you just kind of want to watch it.
Yeah.
It's better when we do bad movies because then we don't care. Then we just keep talking.
There's some of our old commentaries on bad movies I want to revisit at some point.
Like what?
We should I should watch Cats along with our commentary.
Oh, that's the only reason I would ever watch it. But even then, I don't want to watch it
That was
again, ever.
wow, that was a terrible movie.
That was offensively bad. Wonder, I mean, if we would have wonder so we've watched the Godzilla movies in just random order.
Yeah.
I wonder what we would have thought if we watched them in order, or if it would make a difference. Because the canicity of these things kind of goes out the window.
Pretty much immediately. Just
Right.
like
Because Godzilla dies in this, but then he's just back in the next one.
yeah, it very quickly
I don't
just
know what the explanation
goes
is.
off the rails. Damn. I mean, this movie has much better human drama than I think most of the other Godzilla movies.
Yeah, just look at the destruction. No, yeah, I mean it's a quite somber. I mean, it's the original version, but yeah, it's quite somber. And the imagery, I mean, yeah, I mean, definitely evokes survivors of the bombings in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And yeah, like we said, this is not even 10 years later. And like I mean, but I think, it's a positive way to commentate on this type of thing. 1992 interview of Cult Movies magazine, Ishiro Honda spoke about how storytelling intent and the circumstances of production dictated the style of the film. Of course, there was the original story by Shigeru Kaneyama, but making the film was about answering this simple question: what would happen if something like this really appeared? I initially planned to write it in a bit more about the government and whatnot, we would get that in Shin Godzilla. Apparently a lot of it is like just the Japanese bureaucracy and government just failing to respond, which is a commentary on
It's Fukushima, yeah.
the Fukushima.
Yeah.
Um, but uh the film was about Terran shock. We decided to narrow it down, just having the scientists try to deal with it, but even with that, I think we could have done more. Bottom line is, it appeared, what can we do? There's nothing we can do. We decided to depict the terror and horror of this realization. It's probably why the footage looks very documentary-like. There really was no room for dramatic scenes. If you want to get more into the documentary feel of the movie, another reason is that there's not enough sets or even open sets large enough available for us. These were some of the other elements that came into play, which we were aware of and prepared from the beginning. What would happen if something like this suddenly appeared? Well, it'd be totally crazy. This was what we wanted to show through the screen. Children who weren't even born back then watch the film today and can still feel the sense of terror.
Yeah. Burning the notes.
It doesn't want to fall in the wrong hands. So he destroyed all the evidence, but he made one to kill him with, right?
Yeah. And he
Destroyed
knows
all the
how to make
information.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I missed this. During the press conference in which scientists announced the existence of Godzilla to the public, they bring up the Yeti of the Himalayas as the precedent for the existence of giant monsters. Shiro Honda's next kaiju movie was in fact a Yeti film, 1955's Beastman Snowman,
Oh.
which was released in a truncated and heavily edited version of American audiences in 1958 under the title Half Human.
Oh.
So Yeti also exists in this universe
Of course.
already.
Who'd win in a fight? Godzilla or the Yeti?
Godzilla. Just step on him. Unless it's like a kaiju size one. I know they eventually made like kaiju versions of Frankenstein. It's a
Yeah.
really weird thing. The delivery mechanism for the oxygen destroyer bears a very striking resemblance to the inner workings of the implosion design of the atom bomb that was used on Nagasaki.
Oh.
I already drank some of my whiskey. How are you feeling?
I'm doing fine. Yeah, I finished my drink a while ago.
I mean, Dr. Serizawa, is an absolute Chad. Going in the water. I mean, this is way worse than Jaws, going in the cage with Jaws.
Yeah, going underwater with Godzilla.
Going under the water with a Godzilla.
Yeah,
Just
it's
you with this world-ending weapon that you could probably die from anyways. And a 50s era diving suit. No, thank you.
yeah, just feeding a hose down.
Yeah.
I like how the music here isn't like triumphant.
No, it's not triumphant. It's tragic.
Yeah.
I was just sleeping in the ocean, just chilling. No, nothing about this movie is triumphant.
Yeah.
Special effects artist E.G. Tsuburaya originally wanted Godzilla to be a giant octopus, which would later get his wish to have one. In the movies King Kong versus Godzilla, a deleted scene, and Frankenstein versus Baragon. Oh yeah, Baragon's another common monster that appears in these. And
Yeah.
yeah, Frankenstein versus Baragon. That's what I was talking about earlier. In
Yeah.
65. And finally in the War of Gargantuas, 1966, where the octopus would meet his end. Octopus also made it appear, so it was given the name Odaku. The octopus was also appeared in TV series Ultra Q 1965 and was for consideration to be Godzilla's opponent in Godzilla Final Wars.
Nice.
I don't remember octopus in that. There's the bomb.
Yeah. You're right. Absolute
When
Chad.
does he also die in this?
Yeah, he
I can't remember.
yeah, he sets off the bomb with himself because he doesn't want to he's the last piece of evidence of
He's the
how
last
to
one that knows how to make it. Yeah.
yeah.
So the scenes of Godzilla underwater were filmed dry for wet with an aquarium, complete with fish placed between the camera and the monster-suited Nakajima. This was combined with actual underwater footage of divers and additional dry for wet footage of Ogata and Serizawa. Director Honda had experience in underwater filming. His feature-length debut about lives of Ama Pearl divers, which was also the first Japanese film to use underwater filming techniques. So here, I mean, it's just like bubbling up,
Yeah.
integrating them.
Absolute Chad, you're right. Goes down with
Yeah.
Godzilla and then
Oh, he
sacrifices
cuts the
him.
cord.
Yeah. and then sacrifices himself to make sure the weapon doesn't get misused.
Yep.
Damn.
Ooh, the death roar. Terrible sight. Just behold. So Godzilla is defeated. He's dead. But this
Yeah.
the film doesn't present it as like a
Oh, it's almost
good thing.
Yeah, it's almost
You're
tragic
right. It is a tragedy.
because it kind of
As the
presents
skeleton.
Godzilla as, you know, he's nature's fury for what humans have done,
Yeah.
and this is humans not learning their lesson. Yeah.
Yes, Arizona was a Chad. Made the sacrifice.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love this movie, but this was honestly one of the most somber movies we've ever watched
Yeah, like
for a
we're both just
commentary.
like sitting here being like,
Yeah,
damn, I'm
that's
gonna go to bed after watching
damn.
this. Like,
Yeah. I
like,
mean,
wow.
drinking is it feels right here. I definitely
Mo-
need a drink after this.
Most of the Godzilla movies are ones that are fun to watch while you're drinking, and this is the one that makes you want
Right.
to drink afterwards.
Right. Yeah. It's heavy. And there it is.
Yeah.
Great stuff. The original Godzilla.
Yeah.
I want to watch more of these. I want to do more of these.
We need to. We need
Uh,
to. We said forever ago that we
we've
would
done
do the whole
now.
series.
We've done 3 out of like 100.
Yeah.
No, how many Godzilla? Let's see. How many Godzilla movies are there? Yeah, 37 films.
Jeez.
I
I mean,
don't know if that's counting. Yeah, I think that is counting King of the Monsters because it is technically different.
yeah.
Um, well, the original Kingdom Monsters. Uh, we did Destroy Monsters,
Yeah.
and we did Godzilla versus Godzilla, and the original Godzilla. Anyways,
What a movie that is.
drink to that.
Yeah. Amen to that, right? All right. Well, uh if we made it through uh however many Spider-Man movies, we can make it through these.
You're 37 Godzilla movies, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's this week's episode. I think we.
Well, we'll see you guys next week. Follow us at Odd Drunk Pod on Instagram. Give us a rating, review, or download on your platform of choice. Check out our spin-off show, Morning Oddities. And we'll see you next week.
This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. The Odd Drunk Podcast recommends you follow their Instagram and join their Facebook group for more fun content. To visit all of our current streaming and social media platforms, visit the link tree in the description. If you enjoy the show, we would be appreciated it if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts. The Odd Drunk Podcast would like to remind you to drink responsibly and not to drink and drive.